Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is 1x, 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 1 by 1x. Leave a like if you recognize this avatar, as it's one of the main themes of ROBLOX the Classic. I actually recreated the avatar on Roblox. Leave a like for this. Guys, I'm not an admin. Why is this guy asking? Why does everybody think I'm an admin? Guys, please help! Help! I'm not an admin! I'm not! Guys, why does everybody think I'm an admin? Please help! That's it. I'm setting a bomb. Sorry, boys. Oh! But anyways, guys, I'm here to give my thoughts on ROBLOX the Classic. And ROBLOX Classic just ended about a day ago when I'm recording this. So yeah, the Classic is over. See you next time. So now it's time to give my thoughts and my opinions on this event. Now, before I even talk about this event, I want to talk about some of the common opinions and comments about this event. But as you see, a lot of these comments are hate comments. A lot of people do not like this event. Unfortunately, it's not doing too good, but even The Hunt also got similar opinions like this. It's no surprise that a lot of people are shitting on this event. Some people even think it's too hard, which I find crazy because this was not hard at all, really. There was nothing in here that was that hard. I think if you consider this too hard, then you're probably just not good at video games. And I've completed this event pretty much day 2. I didn't get all of the tokens possible or all the ticks possible, but I unlocked all, and I mean all the rewards pretty quickly. I mean, it really wasn't that hard to get enough to unlock everything in the game. I did it within around 5 to 6 hours. So I would actually say it's pretty easy, if I do say so myself. All the games and everything, all the quests, all the things in the event I found pretty easy. So I don't really understand that comment on how it's considered difficult or too difficult. Now, if you didn't know what the ROBLOX Classic event was, it was basically similar to Roblox The Hunt, where it's this event themed in the classic Roblox style, meaning around 2006 style, where you go and play 15 different games that have a limited time classic event going on inside these games, as well as a brand new event hub where you can do quests and other stuff to unlock ticks and tokens to unlock permanent items for your avatar. And well, the question everybody is asking, was this event good or bad? And well, I want to talk about it today. So let's go. First off, before we even talk about the games and the whole event thing, I want to talk about the event hub. This is a masterpiece. I am in love with the event hub. This is my favorite part about the event, and this is just like 10 out of 10. I love the event hub. There's so much to do in the event hub, and I love the whole classic style. Comparing this to The Hunt, this is already 10 times better. I mean, compare The Hunt's event hub to this event hub. I mean, they're just not even comparable. This is obviously way better than The Hunt's event hub. I mean, this is basically a whole game. You actually have quests and stuff to do in the game, which I find really cool, and I love this aspect of this event. There's a lot to do in this event hub, and I really appreciate this. And I love how you can even knock people into the portals with the RPG. You can have a lot of fun. You can even explode a lot of stuff around here like this. Boom. That lamppost is gone. You can even knock down the Roblox HQ. You can do so much. It's a lot of fun. And before we talk about the actual games and such, I also want to talk about the rewards. Before you even touch any of these games, you're probably looking at, well, is it worth it, judging by these rewards? And well, it's totally subjective, but let's take a look at these. These are all the free rewards here. Now, there's only 4 items as of right now that you can get, but they're not very hard to get. I believe it only costs around 50 or so tokens to achieve all 4 items, so it's not too hard to actually achieve. So you don't actually have to play every single game and complete every quest in every game to actually get all the items. I know that was a pain with The Hunt. People didn't want to actually have to play every single game in order to get all the items. But yeah, the actual items here, I'm going to equip some of them here. You know, they are just subjective. You know, you might like it, you might not. Me personally, I'm not really a fan of any of the exclusive items by the way they look. They do give off that classic style, which I do appreciate, but I would never wear any of these. But I still go for them just because I like owning them, because they are very rare. They're going to become very rare, and they're going to be no longer available in the future. They might even become limiteds and be worth money, or even you could sell your account for thousands of dollars for these items in the future. I don't know. These are things you got to keep in mind. I also just think it's fun to just, you know, if you have the time, just go for these items just to have them on your account. But me personally, I don't really go for the way they look. I really could care less. They could be literal piles of dog shit and I'd still go for them. So it's totally up to you if you want them or not, if you find them cool or not. But me personally, I don't really mind. And of course, you have the paid options as well, just like the hunt, which are just outrageously expensive. 20,000. I mean, honestly, it's not as bad as the hunt. And these do come with a lot, to be fair. You get the bling track and this whole outfit for 20,000 or nearly 20,000, which is nearly $200, by the way. Totally optional though, but you know, these prices are a little bit outrageous. I will say though, the bling track is actually cheaper than the hunt's battle pass paid option. The paid option on the hunt was actually $10 and this one's a little bit cheaper. It's around $6. So I will say at least they're making some of the stuff cheaper, as well as the items. The limited time items I've noticed are cheaper. I've only seen one that was like 99 Robux, and this one's only 79 Robux. So I think they are listening to the community a little bit and lowering some of these prices of the limited time items, which I do, of course, appreciate. But I would never be buying into any of this stuff because, number one, I don't really like the way they look. But number two, they're always a little bit overpriced. Come on, you can get UGCs that look exactly like it. I want to address some popular opinions on this event. A lot of people actually dislike this event, and these are not necessarily my problems with the event, but these are popular opinions. As you see, a lot of people are not happy with the games that were selected to be in this event, and a lot of people are saying that they are obviously not classic games and that these games instead should be on there, and or some of the games chosen are just literal dog shit like Toilet Tower Defense, which I will have to agree with. That game fucking sucks. But as far as them not being quote unquote classic, yes, none of them are classic. Some of them even came out this year. I don't really have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with what year these games are because that's not necessarily what they're going for. It doesn't matter what year or how new the game is. It's that they're making a classic game mode or event quest in that game. Doesn't mean that the game has to be classic. And I don't think that's a problem in my eyes. As long as they're actually making a classic event or making the entire game classic for a limited time, that's all that matters. As long as, you know, as you see, they're trying to replicate it. Honestly, I think they have a good reason on why they didn't choose classic games is because, number one, a lot of the classic games are no longer functional. Most of them are not. So I feel like they would definitely have to somehow contact the creators of some of these developers who may not even be on Roblox. They may not even be alive anymore, and basically tell them, hey, we're doing an event, please make your game functional again. They would still have to pull off some sort of event. They can't just be like forcing you to just play a game. But, you know, that would be kind of underwhelming. Like, oh, just play this classic game. That's it. They would still have to do some sort of event quest no matter what, I feel like. So, like, yes, they could have maybe pulled it off, but I feel like it's a lot harder than people think. And then some people are just not happy with the whole The Hunt-like style of the event. And I can kind of get behind that, though I don't really mind it. I think it's fun having a variety of games to go to do quests in there. It's always fun to just try out a bunch of new games or games that you've already seen before or played before and just see what they have created for this event. For me personally, I have no complaints for it. I don't mind the hunt style where you actually go and play a bunch of games. So I do have a problem with some of the games that they did choose for this. I'm not really a fan of Toilet Tower Defense, and there's definitely a lot more games that could have gotten on here. You know, I'm not complaining too much, only for a few, like Toilet Tower Defense, maybe Dress to Impress and Adopt Me. The others I'm not too mad about, but that isn't my biggest concern. It's just a few games that I wasn't really happy about, and there's definitely a lot more games that they could have chosen, but once again, I'm not really too bummed out about it. Now, I actually want to talk about the games themselves and how good they are and how good the event quests are, but for this next segment, I want to do a tier list instead of just talking about it. So, without further ado, let's get into the tier list. Also, the tier list link will be in the description. If you guys want to make a tier list on the classic games, you definitely can. But yeah, let's get into it. Alright guys, so I wanted to rank this in a tier list, but I wanted to rank all of the classic games, which there are 15 here. I want to rank all of them since I did actually play all of them. Now, not the game itself, of course, the event quest, and which one I thought was the best and worst. So here we go. Now, this is just my own opinion, so yeah. If you disagree, let me know in the comments which one you enjoyed the most, which one you thought was the best, and which one you thought was the worst. And yeah, without further ado, let's get it started. First off, we have Adopt Me here, and well, we're gonna put this at not good. Now, the reason why I'm putting this at not good is because there wasn't really too much to it. You get a teapot pet, which is a permanent classic pet that you actually get to keep, well, forever, which is cool, I guess, if you are an Adopt Me fan. Now, I'm not an Adopt Me fan. I have played it a little bit just to try to get a grasp of the game, but I never really got into it. That's besides the point. The actual quest where you just have to sit and waste your life away leveling up and aging your pet up 5 times in order to get 5 of those tokens is very repetitive and boring, if I do say so myself. Finding the ticks was relatively difficult, being an Adopt Me noob as well, which I feel like is actually a negative thing. Yes, finding and doing a scavenge hunt is fun, and pretty much every game did that with the ticks, but Adopt Me felt the most difficult trying to find some of these. I actually had to look up some of the locations for the ticks because I feel like you have to be an Adopt Me pro to really understand and maybe have an idea of where some of these ticks locations will be, which I didn't find cool at all. So overall, there really wasn't too much to it. It felt like you're playing the normal game, and that's not something I really wanted to do in the first place because fuck Adopt Me. Next up, we have Gunfight Arena, and well, I'm going to put this at average. Without saying anything, this is just a very average thing. Yes, they added, like, I believe there's maybe a few maps, but I've only really got to play one map for the classic event, and there's a handful of new weapons, which I do find really cool and interesting that they brought back a lot of those weapons in an FPS game, so I thought that was really cool, but the actual gameplay is not really it. You're pretty much going against bots the entire time, and you're spawn killing everybody. I've never really been a fan of Gunfight Arena just because of that. I thought it was pretty cool that you can actually find the ticks and you have to actually shoot it with your gun in order to collect it, but right now there isn't any way to actually get the tokens in the game. They haven't even added that. I don't have anything against this game, but you know, it was average. Next up, we have Arsenal here. Now, Arsenal, I'm going to put at very good right away because this event, very similar to the hunt, it has a solo or even co-op. You can play with friends, story mode kind of deal, mission thing, and it was actually very fun, and it was quite challenging. It was by far the most challenging of all the event quests, so I do actually appreciate that, and I do really like the whole theme of the event quest, and the gameplay was really good. I had a lot of fun playing this, and I think it's definitely by far one of the best out of all these event quests. There's not really much else to say. I just highly recommend trying it out. It could be quite challenging, but I think it's very worth it. I decided to actually move Adopt Me down here because, yeah, now thinking about it, comparing to all these, this one is by far one of the worst. One of the worst. I don't know if it will be. Find out later. Next up, we have Bed Wars, and well, this one, you know, I'm not really a fan of Bed Wars too much. This one was alright. I'm going to put it at not good just because, well, I don't know. It just didn't really feel that good. You're just going against penguins, which I found interesting in a classic map, and that's pretty much it. That's all you do, is you just protect your bed against penguins trying to destroy your bed. I found it kind of uninteresting, and, you know, there's really nothing too bad about it, but it just really wasn't that entertaining. And just because of that, I don't really find it too good. Next up, we have Clip It. Now, this is basically like Roblox TikTok, and this one was quite interesting. It had the same kind of vibe as the Hunts, like Snapchat one. Basically, in this, you just had to either find ticks around the map, which were actually very difficult, and then you basically have to go and find certain like Roblox myths and certain Roblox classic characters and just record them. And for that, I don't know where I put this because I didn't think it was too good, but I thought it was alright because they did bring back a lot of classic maps that you could play in the game. I'm gonna have to put it at not good because it just didn't really have the it factor where it was so interesting and ahead of all the rest. I think it was a little bit below average, if I do say so myself. Next up, we have Driving Empire, and well, Driving Empire had a lot of potential because I really like the whole Builderman racing thing. I like the whole racing map and the way you find ticks in the map, but it is some of the most grindiest shit to try to get all the tokens. And just because of that, we're going to put it at average. I think it could definitely be good, but it's so grindy. And just because of that, it's so hard to really rank this high. Next, we have Bee Swarm, and, you know, I do like Bee Swarm Simulator, the game. I used to play it back in, like, I don't even know what year, but I used to play it a bit. But this felt very uninteresting, and honestly, I'm going to put it at not good. Because, to be honest, it just didn't really feel fun. It was not really fun to play, and I kind of got carried by my team, so I just didn't really have a fun time playing this event, and I kind of just wanted it over with right away, and that's never a good thing. So I'm actually going to put this at bad because I just didn't think it was that good, to be honest. Next, we have Blade Ball, and this one's going to be controversial because a lot of people do not like Blade Ball ever being on an event. It was last on the hunt and nobody really liked it on there. I like this one more than the hunt. I thought it was much easier to get at least one token, and finding the ticks was relatively fine. And I thought it was kind of fun actually fighting the boss. The boss battle was actually, I would say, it was definitely fun. But other than that, that was kind of the only real event. They also added a bunch of new maps that were relatively interesting. But the entire, you're pretty much just playing the game normally. Just because of that, you know, I'm actually going to put this at good. Now, this is very controversial, but I did enjoy it. I enjoyed playing all the new classic maps, and I really enjoyed fighting the boss. The actual event quest, difficulty-wise, it is quite difficult to try to get all 5 of the tokens. The ticks were fine, but getting the tokens, that's the only thing really putting it down. I'll still put it at good just because I actually enjoyed it a lot. All right, next up we have Dusty Trip, and well, we're gonna put that at very good right away. By far, I think is definitely one of the best event quests. I really like how they fully revamped the game and turned it into a classic style where you drive around and you stop by and actually kill zombies instead of mutants like in the actual Dusty Trip. And as a person who is definitely a fan of Dusty Trip, I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed driving that old school car, driving around and looking at all the old school scenery, stopping by these old school buildings and getting classic items. And the whole 1x kind of hacking the server thing was very cool. The 1x boss battle was very cool. It was relatively easy, however. That is not stopping it from being definitely one of the best event quests. I really liked this one, and there's really not too much to say about it other than it was very good. Next, we have Dragon Adventures, and well, this is going at mid, probably one of the most mid ones, because all you really do is play the game normally, but search for eggs. Hatch the eggs and you get the tokens that way, you get the ticks that way. The whole meteor thing was relatively cool, I guess. Once you collect 5 classic eggs, it summons a meteor that you have to destroy in order to even get the token egg, which was, I guess, somewhat cool, but there wasn't too much to it, and I found this pretty lazy, but I didn't really have anything against it either. It was okay. But now that I'm thinking about it, just because they didn't really put too much effort in it, I'm going to put it at not good. I'm going to clip it above Bed Wars. I think this is probably looking good here. I had to give a little bit more respect to Driving Empire, so yeah, I think this list so far is looking pretty good. Next, we have Dress to Impress. Now, this is another one that didn't really have too much going on with it in the event quest. You just play the game normally and you find ticks, but in order to get the tokens, you have to get all the ticks, which I found relatively cool because it actually makes you get the ticks, which I think you should do regardless. But once you get all the ticks, you go into the portal and you do a basically only up Tower of Hell like obby in order to find the tokens, which I found relatively cool, but it wasn't unique. It was just an obby. And for that, I'm going to put it at not good. There wasn't too much to it. It was one of the more lazy event quests, and it was arguably the easiest event quest to do, so I gotta appreciate that part. Next up, we have Livetopia, which was one of the worst event quests in the hunt. Pretty much all you do in this event is you shop for classic characters and you deliver them on a classic scooter. That's pretty much all you do. And while you do that, you will run into a few ticks that you have to find, and you know, just your normal scavenge for ticks thing. Nothing really too interesting there. I will say they redeemed themselves from the hunt quest, but it still wasn't very good. I'm going to put it at not good. Next up, we have TDS, or Tower Defense Simulator. Now this one I'm going to put at average because I thought it was relatively decent. They did put a good amount of effort into it. There's a lot of new classic towers that you can get, and there's a lot of new classic maps that you can go to. So I will say this really hit it on the mark, and I think this is definitely pretty good. I would say, honestly, I'm gonna put this at good. Actually, we're gonna change our mind a little bit. I think this was good. I really had nothing against it. I thought it was good. I thought it was pretty good because they actually put a good amount of effort into it, and the whole classic event, they hit it. They hit it right on the mark. I thought it was pretty fun to play, and I liked it. Next up, we have Toilet Tower Defense, another tower defense game, which I thought they probably shouldn't have done because it got really repetitive after playing TDS. This one is the one that got the most hate because it's a skibbity toilet thing, which is definitely not classic whatsoever. A lot of people were not a fan of this one, and me as well, not a fan. I'm putting this at bad. Not a fan of skibbity toilet, and it was pretty boring. I'm not gonna lie. Next up, we have Restaurant Tycoon 2, which was actually the first one I did, and I enjoyed it. I think creating a classic restaurant with a bunch of those classic characters coming in and getting classic meals at your restaurant was cool, but it just took forever to do, which was the only problem. So I'm actually going to put it at average just because of how long it took. But there was really nothing wrong with it. There's nothing bad with it. And, you know, you scavenge for the tickets and there's really nothing bad about it, but it was just average. So this is the list right here, but I'm not done. So I do this with every tier list. I have to rank which one is the best and which one is the worst. Now keep in mind, this is entirely my opinion. You are open to your own opinion. You can disagree or agree with this. Let me know what you guys think is the best and the worst. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to start off with which one is the worst. Now down here we have Dragon Adventures, Toilet Tower Defense, and Adopt Me. Which one is the worst? Now I already know my answer, and it's Adopt Me. Now, just because I think they didn't put hardly any effort into this, the whole ticks thing, they just did what everybody else did, a scavenge hunt for the ticks, whatever. We don't care about that. The actual way to get tokens, all you do is level up a damn teapot. That's all you do. So basically you're just playing Adopt Me with a brand new pet that really isn't that cool. I just felt like, you know, yes, I am kind of an Adopt Me hater. I'm a little biased, but this was very boring. If I do say so myself, I felt like it was by far the laziest or one of the laziest. It just was very uninteresting. I didn't really enjoy it at all. Sorry, Adopt Me. I'm just not really a fan of this style of game. I found it very uninteresting. So now we go on to which one is the best. Now, it's only between two here, the very goods. Arsenal and A Dusty Trip. Both of these were very good. I had a lot of fun with both of them. Both of these games put in a lot of effort into these event quests, but I'm gonna have to go with A Dusty Trip because I think this is by far the most effort that someone put into the event quest. I had a lot of fun with it. It was really cool driving around in an old school car, finding all these classic items, fighting off classic zombies, and the whole 1x hacking the server thing was really cool. I thought by far this is the best. It was one of the easiest too. It was just by far the most entertaining and enjoyable experiences I've had on this event. So by far, I think this is probably going to be a popular opinion. I think A Dusty Trip was the most entertaining and the most enjoyable out of all of the event quests. And yeah, this is my list here. Let me know your guys' thoughts on it. And yeah, that's it. Now with all that being said, with all my opinions and what I think is the best or worst game, we're going to come down to what I like and dislike about this event. Now first off, we're going to go with what I dislike about the event, and that is not much. Now there isn't too much I dislike about the event. Obviously the event hub, I have nothing to dislike about, but the games themselves, some of the quests, yeah, I do. Obviously Adopt Me's quests, maybe Dragon Adventures' quest, maybe Livetopia's quest, but especially Toilet Tower Defense. That's my main dislike about this. Is pretty much the only thing I dislike about the event is Toilet Tower Defense. Take that off the fucking list of games. We hate that shit. That's the only thing I really dislike about it. There's literally nothing else I dislike about it. So let's move on to what I like about the event, which pretty much is everything. I like the event as a whole. I think it's better than the hunt, 100%. I think the items are pretty cool to go for, but not necessarily my type of items. I love the event hub. This is the highlight of the event. And as far as the game's event quests go, I love them too. There's a few that I don't really like, but for the most part, I do love them, and they were all fun to go for. But this whole style, everything about the event, I like. There's really nothing I dislike about this event. And that comes down to the question, the final age-old question, the question that everybody's asking, is this event good or bad? And well, It's simply good. There's really not much to dislike about this event. It's totally subjective though. You're totally entitled to your opinion. There's definitely people who don't like the hunt style. They don't like the rewards. They don't think it's worth it. They wish that the games were more classic styled. They wish they chose different games, etc. But for me personally, I don't really mind all that. And I will safely say that this event is a success. I would rate maybe an 8 or 9 out of 10 event. I think this is one of the best events that they pulled off, if not the best event, because I'm super into the classic style because I've been playing Roblox since around 2008, around that time. So I'm a classic user and I love this whole nostalgic classic theme that's going on. It's a nostalgic rush. It's a path down memory lane. And that's probably one of the main reasons on why this is probably my favorite event that Roblox has ever pulled off. And I mean that. I think that maybe it could have been better, but I am in love with it no matter what. I think this is a huge W for Roblox, and I think it's borderline good for the platform. So that's pretty much it. Yes, I think it's good. I recommend playing it. I also recommend checking out my video that I did make on the whole event. So be sure to check that out. That's pretty much it. Peace.